The Endless Golf Podcast, brought to you by Toyota.
And welcome into another edition of the Endless Golf Podcast presented by Toyota. Joining me is PGA professional and head golf professional at Ocean City Golf Club, Buddy Sass. Buddy, it's great to have you back on the podcast.
My pleasure, Bobby. Always good to see you.
You know, buddy, the Masters is around the corner, and you know what that means. Golf season is here on the Eastern Shore, and I know everyone's anxious to get out there. It's been a tough winter, a lot of snow. Everybody in the Ocean City area just yearning to get out. And I know all the package guys up in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic are, jonesing to play some golf as well. And, when the Masters, when people start talking about the Masters, you start seeing the commercials, on TV about the Masters, it really does get you in the mood for good golf.
Oh, it does, Bobby. And they do a great job with, the new little snippets that they throw in here and there, and then they start building as we get closer to it. And, with the winter being so cold this year, I have never felt such energy for people to just want to get out there and hit the ball. It's really, we've had some warm winters and it's like, oh, it's April, no big deal. But this year, April's special because everyone knows the weather will finally turn.
Exactly. And I tell you, on the podcast today, we're going to talk about getting a plan to improve your game as you move into the golf season, buddy. As you mentioned, this year in Ocean City and really in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, folks haven't been able to play a lot of golf. So they haven't picked up a golf club, haven't done a lot. Maybe some of their problems and their, miscues when it comes to the game of golf went away, but they usually find their way back. So putting a plan together as you move into golf season, what's a good place and where's a good place to start?
Well, for me, Bobby, and we're now of an age, where physicality makes a difference. I always start anyone that talks to me about getting better or getting back in season, it always starts at the gym. And if you want to make yourself a better golfer, if you want to play better, if you want to get better, if you want to play for a long time, you've got to take care of yourself physically. Now, it's a little bit late in the season. So, if it was November, I would say get a gym membership, maybe a trainer. But here, end of March, early April, it's still not too late. But I would focus more on stretching, flexibility, mobility, and things like that, as opposed to just going in the gym and grinding it out. But that would be step one. Would be to try to take care of myself physically. And whatever that means, if it means a trainer and some stretching or a chiropractor or massage, whatever would help you and your body feel really good to get the season started.
Buddy, it's funny, I've been a guy who I really like to when I was a few years ago, I would be running. Now I'm starting to walk more. And I walk between 4 to 6 miles when I'm not playing golf. But I found it difficult as I've aged and I'm getting a little older. It's difficult for me, maybe because I haven't done it consistently, to walk, 4 or 5 miles in the morning and then go play golf. I mean, when I get done playing golf now, I'm pretty fatigued. So I try to do some walking, get some stretching on my off days. But I'm guilty of the fact that I really don't use a lot of weights. I do use the bands a little bit, but not as consistent as I would like. But to your point, I have certainly tried in the last few weeks to step up my game. Do a little more stretching. I'm getting back into walking, but I think the stretching and just doing some, a little bit of training with weights or bands or whatever, I think that's a big asset if you're trying to improve your game for sure.
No, it is. And I think we can all agree that, golf, even in a cart, you're going to do a certain amount of walking. So walking is step one. That can never hurt your golf game. It's really good for your back. It helps you keep the pounds, in check a little bit, because I do like to eat a little. So walking is a great first step. And the more you can walk, I mean, a golf walk, if you're walking 18 holes, is 5 to 6 miles. So 4 or 5 miles walking, perfect. The other thing, though, is, you don't want to get crazy either. So you really don't want to hurt yourself, which is if you're getting back into it or trying to make a plan here to get started, is to take it easy and just baby steps, but build and keep that going if you can. I like your idea of working on the off days. So if I'm playing golf 2 or 3 days a week, the other days, say 2 or 3 days walking, and then maybe take off on Sundays, relax a little bit. It makes a huge difference. If we're all honest, we all get fatigued on the back nine. There's no doubt. Very rarely in my age group do I see somebody play better on the back than they did on the front.
That's what I feel like. I feel like when I do walk, it gets me in better shape. So when I am playing golf, to your point, that back nine, I'm not as fatigued as I would be if I wasn't doing some walking on my off day. So I do think that's a good point. If we're going to say this, we're going to eliminate probably 30 or 40% of the people because they're just not going to want to work out. That's not what they want to do. They just want to play golf and they want to get the best out of their golf game that they can get. And for those folks out there, if you're starting up with a new year, I know it's equipment. I had John Rudo on last time, and we talked about some new equipment for 2025. We also talked about the fact that you can't buy a game. You really have to practice, and that's where you can certainly gain some improvement. Is to get a practice regimen and play the game as well. You have to put some time and commitment into trying to get better.
100%, Bobby. You can't buy. I do think equipment makes a difference. So as a part of my plan, just real quick, I won't, because I know Johnny's the expert with golf clubs, but you want to make sure you feel good about what you're playing. So if you're not sure about wedges or you're looking at irons or drivers, I like to resolve that right at the beginning. So if I'm going to play golf for 2025, I want to put the equipment piece behind me, whether I get fit in a simulator indoors or outdoors. However, I just want to put that piece away so that I can start my routine practice to get better. And for me, practice always involves playing. In fact, I probably do half or more than half of my practice on the golf course, playing shots to be able to see what the ball does. I spend a little time on the range, but not a lot. So first of all, put the equipment piece behind you, and then let's talk about practice and how anyone, except for maybe a very young person, would get started. And for me, that starts at the green.
And I think to your point as well, the way you practice is almost as important as how much you practice, because you can certainly practice some bad habits, and that's going to actually hurt your game more than it's going to help your game.
It can. And you have to be really careful on the range, because you will hit balls to the point where you start to create issues. First of all, on the range, if I get out there and I start striping it and feeling good about it, I don't keep going. If I hit, I feel good about it and I got a quarter of a bucket left, I try very hard to walk away from that quarter of a bucket, because that's the worst thing I could do, because I'm going to experiment. I'm going to try to hit it further. I'm going to do something that's going to negate the good work that I've done up to that point.
Yes, and I think when you, like you said, a moment ago, it starts on the green too. I know a lot of people like to pound golf balls, hit drivers, irons, and everything like that. But your short game is so important. And if you kind of play the game backwards and start on the green, that's going to certainly save you a lot of shots. We've talked. I had my issues with putting for a few years, and you actually fixed that. I went to the left-hand low grip with the underneath grip, and got me out of my woes. And I'm putting a lot better. And that took a commitment as well, buddy. I mean, and this game, as you know, is just as much mentally as it is physically. So you have to start with probably the easier part of the game, and that is maybe the short game, putting and chipping. And that'll make every other part of your game a lot easier, that's for sure.
No doubt, Bobby. And I haven't, I guess I'll share, people ask me from time to time, what do you do? Because they don't see me playing in matches and stuff. And so I do have a routine that I do in a way that I like to practice. And we've got state team matches, and we're going to play Toyota Cup again this year. So, I'm going to play a little bit of golf this year, maybe more than I have the past couple. So I start at the green, and early in the season, you'll see me out on the putting green, and I love chalk lines and straight putts. And what that does for me is, if I see my eyes, I consider them to be like the sight of a gun, right? And one of the biggest things we have problems with putting is bad aim. And we'll be perhaps right eye dominant, but we don't know what square or what straight looks like. And so I'll drop a chalk line on a straight putt, maybe 6 to 8 feet, and I'll work on that chalk line every day or every other day for 10 or 15 minutes. Again, I'm getting older and I can't bend over forever. So I just hit my time, make my putts. But what that does is that gives me reference points because I know I'm square to the line. I know the line is straight. And then all of my inside of 10-foot putts during the year are going to become straight putts. And that's how I look at 10-footers and in. And I spend a lot of time on a chalk line making sure that my setup is proper and that I know what square and straight looks like.
One of the things that I found when I was going through my struggles with my putting was I was thinking too much, thinking about too many different things. And I've never been a guy that's I'm more of a field player than I am a technical player. And we all know there's certainly a difference. We know guys that are real technical about their golf swing, and I felt like I got too many thoughts in my head. And to your point, when you do something like that, it kind of simplifies things and makes it a little bit easier to practice and to be successful.
No, I think it does. No, it does make it simple, number one. And number two, it gives you confidence. It gives you great feedback because I've never met anyone that didn't make more 6-footers on that chalk line. That added aim point really gets you squared up. And it's amazing when you do things right, how many of them go in. And so you develop confidence, you simplify things. I'm a little bit like you. I'm not super technical, but I know if I'm using that chalk line on a regular basis, my aim is good, and it just gives me confidence.
I was playing golf the other day with Diego from Lighthouse Sound, and we were talking, and he was watching me swing, and he goes, do you ever get any lessons? And I go, I'm over that now, Diego. I said, I kind of know my game. And when I did get lessons, I would go to you, and you helped me immensely over the years. But I feel like that I know my game well enough, and I swing the golf club my way, and I've been able to kind of know, and you've taught me this over the years. You've taught me how to self-correct. If I'm blowing it right, normally what you always said is you're aiming way too far to the right, which I do, and then I try to come over the top. But as you know, for me, I have to aim a little right to make my best golf swing. So I also feel like if you don't like to practice, knowing your game and knowing how to correct your game, a PGA professional like yourself can certainly help you, give you those quick fixes when you're playing your round and just trying to get through your round, or if you're struggling. And that certainly helped me over time, buddy. Now, when I get really bad and I'm really, out of line, like I was with my putting, you're the first person that I called. And I think that's important, but you've got to figure out a way when you're not playing your best golf, and whether it's practicing or whether you're on the golf course, just to get the ball around the golf course and get it in the hole.
Bobby, 100%. You said it all. So video's been great, right? And all of this high tech digital, and we're all looking at these professional golfers swing the golf club, and they're such at a different level athletically than the rest of us. I think one of the pitfalls and the problems that the teaching business has right now is, they look at Buddy Sass and Bobby V, and we don't swing or don't have the capability of swinging anything like Rory McIlroy or, God forbid, Scotty Scheffler. And they both swing it very differently and very, very well. So I think you have to build your swing around what you can do physically and through your eyeballs, because as your eyes cause you to aim a certain way. And so you're always going to drift that way. So for me to teach you a different kind of golf swing doesn't really make sense. You need to see the ball going a certain way to play well.
It's funny. I've watched one of my buddies, Bobby Burke, play golf for years. And I mean, if you looked at where he aimed, you would think that this guy couldn't break 100. And as we know, he's a really good golfer. And another guy that if you watch him play around the golf, Mike Stanko, I mean, this guy probably has the worst golf swing you've ever seen in your life. But this guy can put the golf ball in the hole. And, buddy, there's not a better putter than I know. So he kind of knows, hey, I'm not going to be that great of a ball striker. I'm going to get it around. But when I get it near the greens, I'm going to get it in the hole. And he, his athletic ability, his age doesn't allow him to hit the ball like he used to. But, man, I tell you what, he certainly makes it up around the greens. And that's a big factor. Do what you do well and practice what you practice well. And sometimes you have to accept, hey, this is just who I am. This is part of my ability.
Yeah, play to your strengths, right? We should all do that more, and we tend to see what goes on TV and think we need to try to reach this or do that. But the truth is, if you play it as the course was designed and play within your strengths and weaknesses, you'll be surprised at how well you can score. And we forget, to the guy that bombs it and has a super high ceiling and all the ability in the world, when you bunt one around and you whoop him, beat him a couple ways, you ruined his day.
Yes, yes. I tell you what, a guy that's a really good player, Brian Taylor. He's a guy that when you watch him swing, got a great golf swing, but he's not real long. Nothing. He hits some bad shots, but I tell you what, he's in the woods. He can be anywhere. He's making par, and these guys are real good players. They hit it, 275, 280 down the middle. A guy like Brian can drive him crazy because he's going to chip it and putt it better than anybody.
I think you could safely say Brian's made a career out of up and downs. Oh, that guy can get it up and down out of a trash can, this and that. And everybody knows it when they play him. And that's a certain amount of pressure on his opponent that he exerts that, is very valuable to him. But he's not bombing it past him. He's not, this super duper tee to green player. Solid, of course, but it's the chipping and the 6 and 8 footers that he makes that drive you nuts.
Yeah, one last point, buddy, about practicing. We all know guys that love to pound balls. That's what they love to do, and then guys like myself that don't like to, hit that many balls and don't practice probably as much as I should or we should. I think there is a point though, and we talked about this briefly earlier. You can injure yourself. You can get into bad habits if you're going to hit a lot of balls. Make sure you're practicing it correctly, because I think that can, and we talked about this briefly earlier, it can certainly do more damage. So I would say if you're a person who likes to practice and you're trying to get better, that's a great way to do it. But make sure you see a PGA professional like Buddy, and make sure you're doing the right things. Grip, posture, always important. Alignment, as you alluded to, all the things that you have to be aware of. And sometimes when you're practicing alone, it's hard to do. Now, with the advent of the video, it certainly has helped people practice alone. They can set up their phone and their camera, and they can kind of watch themselves. But it's always good to have another eye to kind of help you.
Yeah, I agree with that, Bobby. And I'll tell you another pitfall or trap that you have to be, the simulators, right? So we had a simulator for the first time this winter. And let me tell you something. I had no appreciation. You can hit a lot of balls in 15 minutes with a simulator. It's scary how many balls you can hit. And I've seen more than one person injure themselves by hitting, a small bucket's 20, 25 balls. A large bucket out on the range is 70, 75 balls. You can hit 50, 60, 70 balls like in 15 minutes. You can rapid fire them and hurt yourself. You really got to be careful with this new technology to, you really take your time. I find myself doing it. We like to work on wedge distances and stuff with the simulator, and you can hit, so many so fast. And next thing you know, you're sweating, and you wake up in the morning and the back's, oh, well, wait a minute, a little tight,
Yeah.
So I do think smart practice is really the term that you want to use. You want to practice correctly, and you don't want to hurt yourself doing it.
And if anything, slow down on the range. If you ever go to a tour event, we've been to a few, obviously, and you watch. I love watching the tour players hit golf balls at the range, and they do it just methodically, and they do it slow. It's not ball after ball after ball. When they're practicing, and they're getting warmed up for an event. Obviously their main goal is to get loose, but they're also hitting shots. But they're not just dropping a ball and hitting it. And Freddie Couples, obviously, he's had so many injuries under the years. He's a great one. He'll hit a ball, have a conversation, hit another ball. It's kind of the pace of play, because when we play the game, we don't hit shot after shot. We hit a shot, we go to the next shot. So there's time in between those shots. But when we're on the range, it's ball after ball after ball.
Yeah, no, I agree. And unless you're working with a teaching professional and working on something, I think you really need to take your time and not hit. You're on the range to validate what you're doing. So if you're there before a round or even after a round, and things get going well, walk away. Because that's what, to me, unless you're working on a specific drill or something particular, you're just looking to validate what's going on. And once you have that validation, leave it be. If you've hit 15 balls, you're loose, striped a couple drivers, the irons were solid, you're good. Walk away.
Well, Bud, I certainly appreciate you taking time. We're going to take a quick break, come back, talk a little bit about Ocean City Golf Club and what you've done this year moving into golf season as we approach April here. So stay with us. We'll be right back. More with Buddy Sass, so stay with us.
And now a word from our sponsor.
I love a good adventure, and my friends and family do too. So we all drive Toyotas. Tacomas for my rugged buds, and Corollas for my city crew. And I drive a RAV4 that I take camping, shopping, and basically everywhere else. We all picked our Toyotas because they're reliable and efficient and have amazing resale value, saving us money now and down the road, so we can make every day an adventure. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals and inventory. Toyota, let's go places.
And welcome back to the Endless Golf Podcast presented by Toyota. Staying with me is head golf professional and PGA professional from Ocean City Golf Club, Buddy Sass. And Buddy, we've had the opportunity to talk about how to improve your game and getting ready for the 2025 season as a golfer. But I know at Ocean City Golf Club, you're really excited about this season. You're always doing something new and different at the club. And I know with the weather this year, your superintendent, Mike Salvio, is kind of happy that the golf course has had some rest.
Bobby, he is. It's not the worst thing here in the Mid-Atlantic to have a cold winter. The golf course had more snow than we've seen in a long time. That's like a nice little blanket to keep the grass warm. There's less traffic. We just came out of aerification and getting ready for the year, verticutting the greens. They really look great. The course is playing nicely. The greens are putting fantastically, and I think he's pretty satisfied and happy with where things are as we move into the prime time of the season.
Well, Buddy, for our viewers out there watching who haven't played Ocean City Golf Club in a while or don't know much about Ocean City, take us through some of the changes that you've made over the past 3 or 4 years, because they are substantial, both to the clubhouse as well as to the golf course, to both golf courses. Yeah,
Bobby, we've got a multi-year plan that we're working on, and we've already started on some of it. Which started out with redoing really the inside of the golf clubhouse, and it's very upgraded. We painted the outside of the building, kind of modernized everything. We've got a beautiful bar now that's very comfortable to sit and converse after the round. People hang out. It's just a much more warm and friendly, comfortable atmosphere around the bar. And the room is beautiful now. It's all redone. But I think the coolest new thing that we've got in regards to the building is the grill out back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had the Celtic Nations guys come in and old Irish craftsmanship. They put together a beautiful outdoor bar that we will use extensively this year. And it's just a great place to hang out on those beautiful days when you don't really want to come inside. You just want to keep it going. We've got a place now for you to hang out and really enjoy yourself.
It really is terrific. What you guys have done to that house, spectacular, both inside and out, and it really is a great addition. And I think you said it best. It really makes you want to stay around the club and enjoy just spending time with the folks you play golf with after you're around.
Yeah, it is. And you can sit at the bar outside, or we've got shade sails and a TV set up, music piped in. So you can sit comfortable on a couch or with other seats sitting around the area in the back of the building. It's very comfortable, and you can really get any atmosphere you want. We've now got a little fire pit out by the putting green if you want to hang out and gamble a little bit afterwards. That's maybe try to even up the bets a little bit. But it's a very comfortable situation for after golf now around the building, which I think is great. And we've started to move on to the golf course.
And, Ocean City Golf Club obviously has 36 championship golf holes with the Seaside and Newport Bay golf courses. And probably the biggest changes you've made has been to the Seaside golf course over the past few years. The playing conditions there have just improved dramatically. And I tell you, we talk about it a lot, but those greens are just fun to putt. And it's just a fun and very challenging course to play as well.
Yeah, Bobby, we we redid Newport Bay years ago, and it's been phenomenal for a long time now. But the seaside has really gotten a facelift in the last few years, and all new irrigation, some new tee boxes. The course plays almost 200 yards longer than it used to. It's very difficult. Probably, honestly, a couple three shots harder than Newport
No
now with the
question.
changes. And we've just redone all the fairways. It was a 2-year process to do a 9 at a time. And I think people are going to see conditions, fairway conditions and green conditions like they've never seen before. I jokingly, because Seaside's, of course, the grand old lady of the area, but I don't think you're going to see anybody with better fairways than Seaside this summer.
Well, it's pretty amazing. It's a great golf course. Built back in 1959, buddy. Kind of the year that we arrived on this earth, right? Pretty close, anyway. Pretty close. Not to date ourselves, but it really is a great golf course, and certainly things have changed over the years with the addition of Newport Bay and just how beautiful that golf course is now. Just the absolute. We talk about it all the time. The beauty of the back nine in Newport Bay really is just spectacular.
It is, Bobby. It's the best sunset in Ocean City. A lot of folks will ride to Fager's or one of those Bayside restaurants to watch a sunset. But I'm telling you, if you're playing any of those last 7 holes and you're on the Ocean City back nine of Newport Bay, there is no better sunset in Ocean City. There really isn't.
Well, buddy, you talk about the golf courses there, and they're always fun to play. You've got a very active membership. It is open to the public. We do Ocean City Golf Club does a lot of golf packages, but they also have a very, very active membership, and you have a lot of different membership options as well.
Yeah, always since Ocean City started back in '59, we've always been proud of our membership, and membership's been a driver of the golf club, and it hasn't changed. Although we're open to the public, we have 2 memberships: a platinum, that we call it, which is kind of our premier membership. And we have about, I guess at this point, 235, 240 platinum members. And, they get all the benefits, a full tournament schedule, a couple of member guests, lots of group play among themselves. You know that very well. You play in some of the groups. And it's a great membership if you like to play a lot of golf. It's affordable and there's a lot of activity with the platinum membership. And then we've got our newest arrival, which has been on the scene now 8 years. It's hard to believe, and that's our anniversary membership. And
wow, 8 years already. That's crazy.
It is crazy. And the anniversary membership, we have a little over 2,500 anniversary members. It's crazy. And so we're a busy place. They have their own set of tournaments and their own options for play and stuff. And there's groups of them that get together. And, those are for people that are, maybe not working, have a little free time, can play different times of the day, because theirs is kind of a locals type membership. It's a last minute type of thing, but they do a lot. We do a lot for them, and they're a big part of our club.
Well, buddy, as a member there, I've always enjoyed my time there, and it's just a great membership as well. A lot of great people, both ladies and men at that club, and I always love spending some time there. Looking forward to catching up with you this spring, obviously, and looking forward to another great golf season in Ocean City, Maryland. Hopefully, the weather continues to improve, no more snow, and we have a great season for 2025.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's play. Everybody should play more golf this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. For Buddy Sass, I'm Bobby Vermillion. We'll see you next time right here on the Endless Golf Podcast. So long, everybody.
The Endless Golf Podcast has been brought to you by Toyota.